Therrrrre here, and we're on part 2 of the 28-inch Lawn Keeper. But before we start the video, if you like this channel, subscribe to the YouTube channel, go to our web store, buy some merchandise like this beautiful slippers tee. A lot of the women, a lot of the chicks, they like slippers. Alright, let's get to the video. Here it is, the Lawn Keeper. We got it running. So Brian, who gave us the Lawn Keepers, stopped by last week and he gave us some paperwork. He made some copies of the manuals. Here's one with some service bulletins dated April 71 on the electric starters. Arnold A. Meyer, service manager back then. Here's one on a hub assembly dated March 3rd, 1971. Gerald F. Blay, assistant to the assistant parts manager. And here's one June 15th, 1966 on a clutch control cable, which Brian gave us a new cable. It's got that part number on it. Another one from Arnold A. Meyer, service manager. Operator's manual. Just the basic one you would get when you'd own it. This one's got a parts breakdown on the deck. Illustrated parts list here. Here's all your parts. Another manual on a deck. It's a little different. It's got a different number. Basically the same thing. One's from 67, one's from 69. Same thing, parts list. I'm sure you can find all this. Here's one on the 909, which is this one. Here's your 2-speed trans. Parts breakdown, no backrest. I thought it came with a backrest. I guess they added that at some point. Illustrated parts list, got all the part numbers. Not like you can get all these parts. Again, I'm sure you can find this all online somewhere. Here's the 911 maintenance manual. Here's the 911 parts catalog. That's the other one we got. Same trans, 2-speed. This seat's got a backrest. So this is a little newer model, the 911 from the 909. But basically the same machine. I'm sure all the parts are basically the same if you were to go through that. And another owner's manual. This one's got the triangular shaped foot pedals, a little older. This is a newer version of the pedals. There's a piece of rubber that goes on there that's missing. That's in this other parts catalog. See? Those little rubber. I have to try to find them or recreate them. It'd be better if it was like this. There was no rubber. So he gave us all that. And he had a new old stock clutch cable. This one's about ready to break. The other one on the other mower is broke. So that service bulletin had to do with these nuts. That last service bulletin. Something about over tightening this because this is like a cable would stretch it. So you had to be careful about over tightening it. But look at that, brand new cable, new old stock. Got the part number on there too. I don't know if you can see it. And like he said when we were at his house, he found these keepers. Gave me 2 sets. There's a left and a right. This is what holds the mower deck on, which we're going to put on, and we're going to cut grass with this thing if it'll cut grass. I went ahead and got rid of that old foam air filter. It was all deteriorated. You just grab it and it would just fall apart. I cleaned this. And this is the closest air cleaner I had in stock. I'm sure they don't make this one anymore. Breaks and scrap them. This one I got from Rotary. It says it's for a 6-horse. There's the Rotary number, 1375. This should work in here. It fits in there pretty tight. So we're going to put this together. I found a new old stock gas cap up in my parts room to replace that one that was on there. This one I believe is for a horizontal engine. It looks like it got a little damaged in this box, but it'll work. And I went up in my box of knobs and I found a couple of knobs because there was one, that shift knob was missing for the low and high. So I don't know if this one had a black knob or a red knob, but they fit. Could always paint them. This one's a little bigger, so I'm going to go with this one. Like I said, this works for engaging the PTO. That locks in. So let's put the deck on and try to cut some grass with it. Let me put all this stuff over here. So it's pretty simple. Put the deck on. This is how you adjust the cutting height with that. So I got it set there. So you just roll it over. And let me see if I can put the belt on that pulley first. And let me see if I can hold on. We put these over the top on each side. Put them over the top. Put the belt on. And then let me pull it forward. It should drop onto there. There we go. That's pretty simple. Like I said, there's a left and a right. They go in from the bottom. So this long pin goes here. And then we put a quick pin in there. I gotta get some quick pin. I got some over here. Got a big assortment of them. These look like they'll work because they're big. And do the same on this side. And that's all there is to it. There's your dinner. Deck's on. Belt's tight. All right, these two are for the other mower. So we put the air cleaner on. We'll fire it up. We'll go cut some grass. If it works. There's a big if there. Pretty cool. So here's that air filter out of the bag. The only difference I see is this one's just got a little bit more of a round corner to it. But it does fit in there. It's a little off center. I just tweak it over a little bit. Should work. And then we got the screen. And we got this stiffener cup. Goes in there. And we got the cover. Look at that. That's going to work. So like I said, I think this is it. I don't think this had an oil bath air filter on it. I think this is the original one. Because if it had an oil bath type, this stud would be a lot longer. I think it goes just like that. Tightening down. I couldn't find any information on this model of this engine. Alright. Now we'll go try to cut some grass with it. Woo! I still gotta fix that. Said he had it for at least 15 years and did nothing to it. He got it, acquired it, put it in his collection, did nothing to it. He doesn't know how long the other owner had it and if they did anything to it. So yeah, this thing is old. It had nothing done to it. set pretty low. She was scalping. I think it was low. These little indicators here are almost all the way to the front. That's about as high as it'll go. She likes to mow low. And I think those caster wheels in the front need some lubrication. And they're a little worn out. Need to lubricate these knobs, but it does cut a little low, I guess. I got it raised up all the way. We'll cut a little more with it now that I got it raised up. Come on. That seems to be a little better that I raised it up. But it works. Hey, it's kind of neat. And the seat needs to come up higher though. I feel like a clown on it. Maybe I should be wearing like a circus outfit, like a clown outfit. Do I look like a clown when I'm riding on it, Mr. Cameraman? I do, okay. Well, maybe we'll raise the seat up a little bit. But we still got a lot of work to do to it. So let's take it back in the shop, talk a little more about the lawn keeper. Because she's a keeper. Well, it seems to mow good. Seems like it's got plenty of power. It's a little slow on ground speed. I think if the gearing was changed a little bit, or the pulley sizes, get it to go a little faster and high, you know, it seems like it would, if it went faster, it seems like it'd be able to handle the grass no problem, and blades seem like they're spinning fast enough. I think they kind of missed the mark on that, or maybe they changed the gearing or something in it at a later point, but I mean, it mows okay. I just wish it went a little faster, would cut faster, it'd be a little bit better to do, and got to raise the seat. And another thing we need to do, the tires are pretty dry rotted, and they got inner tubes in them. That's why they're holding air, but they're falling apart. So we need to put some new boots on it. So I was looking around, and this model has got 410 350 by 6 rims on it, and they're split rims. The 911 we got out there has got a solid rim, and it's a little bit wider, and it uses a 13 5 by 6 tire. So I was looking around, and I got some new boots. These are the boots we're going to put on there. Yeah, we're going to put some ag tires on it. Now, they didn't have them in a 410 350 by 6. I found a 14 4 by 6 ag tire, but it was too tall and it wouldn't fit underneath there. So these are 13 5 by 6 Carlisle ag tires, super lugs. And these will fit on those rims. Now I know what you're saying, those aren't going to fit, Taryl. You're not going to be able to get those tires on. Yeah, they'll fit. They're just a little wider. So I'm just going to have to push it together when I put the bolts in. But these tires will work. So I'm going to go ahead and put some new boots on there. And I'm going to look into getting some new caster wheels for the front, because those are pretty wore out. And I think Rotary has got some wheels for the front and the spacers for it. I'm going to order them. I seen them in the catalog. I'm going to get them, and we'll see if they'll work. So the next time you see this thing, it's going to have new boots on it. some ag boots. It's gonna look cool once it's all painted up and everything. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Lawn keeper. Yeah. She's a keeper. Well, I got the new boots put on, the Lawn Keeper. And check it out, it looks pretty good. Gives that mean ag look. And I found some new casters for the front. I found these from Rotary. They were in the Rotary catalog. So here they are. Same size, but they got a ball bearing in it. And all we'd have to do is paint them, you know, that orangey red color. And there's a spanner that went in the middle here that took it from 1/2 inch to 3/8. So also Rotary had them. So here's the part number of this wheel, which is 3459 from Rotary. 3459, in case you got one of these and you want to find some good, because they're centered wheels, and they got little ball bearings in it, where this has just got a bushing. And then they had these spanner bushings in there. They don't use the 09 Rotary. Oh, money's calling. So 330 is the part number. But you gotta buy them in a pack of 10. You can't buy just one. I gotta get the phone. Alright, so these bushings are 1/2 inch outside OD and 3/8 inside OD. So since I got 10 of them, I had to buy 10. I'll use them on other projects. But they fit in there perfect. But they're a little long, so I'm gonna have to trim them down. And then these are wore out. I could use these over, but they're all flared out and wore out, and they don't fit in there good. I'd rather use new ones. So I already did this one. Plus I went and greased everything. And then I lubed up these adjusters. And I used our gel lube, which we sell in our online store. This stuff is phenomenal. So I lubed up that threaded rod that goes through there with that. All right, so let me show you how I did this. And I'm gonna take this wheel off. And then they got some washers they put on there as spacers. Now I looked in the parts manual, and the parts manual just shows the wheel and the bushing. It doesn't show these on there, but I'm going to use these anyway because it keeps the wheel centered. Otherwise, it's going to float a little bit if you don't have something on there. So I think somebody added these, because these washers are 2 different sizes. So I'm going to have to find me another 1/2 inch washer like this, because that's what they used on there. So what I did is, I put the bushing in there, and I put the washer on there, and I wanted it to stick past just a little bit. Because you want, when you tighten the bolt down, when you squeeze it, you want it to squeeze on this. You don't want it to squeeze on the bearing, because when you squeeze the bearing, then it's going to be tight. Because there's no spacer in the middle of the bearing. There's no spacer underneath here. See, like on this wheel, where this bearing's coming off, you would need a spacer in here in between these two. So that way when you squeeze it, you know, you're not collapsing the bearing. You understand what I'm saying? So for this application, I'm going to put the washer on there. Then I want it to stick out just a little bit. Then I go to the other side. And then I got a real fine point Sharpie. and then I'm going to mark it. Oh. I need to find me that other washer. So right where I marked it should be good. So now I want to cut it nice and square. So I'm going to use a tubing cutter. And then I'm just going to use the tubing cutter to score it. And then I'll take my whizzer wheel and I'll cut it off. Or if you want, just keep cutting through it with the tubing cutter. There. There's your dinner. And we make sure it's gonna fit in this little fork. Oh yeah. A little heavy. Trim a little bit off. But I want it to fit in there tight. And then let me find another flat washer for the other side. I'll be right back. All right, there you have it. I'm gonna go ahead and put 2 new washers on it. See how it just sticks out just past? That's what you want. Now I'll install it. Nice and tight, and we don't get it flopping back and forth. Just a cheap wheel. Look at it, it's all janky. But it's just a guide wheel, so it'll be fine. And there's your dinner on that. In case you're trying to restore one of these and you want to find some new good steel wheels for the front. The next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to take my oxygen and amphetamine torch and I'm going to heat this up here, and I'm going to bend this up a little bit because you can see it's bent down. And it sits kind of low. So I'm going to bend it up, and then I think I'll make me some kind of spacer plate because I'd like it to sit up like even a little bit more higher. So I'll go ahead and heat that up and bend that up and space that up a little bit. Alright. Should be enough. Oh yeah. Let that cool down. While that's cooling down, I'll make me a spacer. I found these thick washers. That's going to add about 1/4 of an inch because these studs aren't that long. And then I'll reupholster this seat later. So I'm just gonna temporarily fix it because we wanna take this to Pontiac, to the tractor show in Pontiac, Illinois. So this is just temporary. But at least it'll sit up a little better. See, now you can get at that gas tank easier to fill. Oh yeah, you sit up a little higher. All I need is put my clown costume on. Well, the clutch cable broke on the Lawn Keeper. We were taking it to Pontiac to that tractor show because we wanted to drive it around and show it off. And we were backing it off the trailer and the cable broke. This end broke off. So luckily Brian gave us another cable, but the one on the other Lawn Keepers broke too. So I thought, well, you know, maybe I can find this online. Maybe somebody's selling new old stock. And believe it or not, yeah, somebody is selling this cable online. The OEM Bolens one. You know how much they want for it? $195. So me being Taryl Fixes All, I thought, well, maybe I can just fix this end of it. And I'm going to show you how I fixed it. So this end of the cable is 1/4-28 thread on the end. So I went and I got a 1/4-28 bolt. Now I used one that was longer than this one. I didn't use this one, but I'm using this as an example. I went and I got a longer one. Since some of the cable broke off and we're going to have to shove it inside here, I wanted it a little bit longer. So I went about that much longer. So I got a 2x4 and I put a 2x4 in my drill press so I could drill a straight hole in it. So that would hold the bolt for me. Then I took my scale. Now, preferably, like this is a grade 5 bolt because it's got the 3 marks. I had a non-graded one which is soft. So if you can find a non-graded bolt or a grade 5, a grade 8 is going to be kind of hard to drill. But a grade 5 or a non-graded bolt will be preferable. So I stuck it in there, and then I took my scale and I went across the flats of the head of the bolt and I scribed it across all the flats. That way I could find the center. And then I center punched it, and then I used a wrench to hold it while I was drilling it, and I stuck it back in my drill press and I drilled a 1/8 hole in it because that's what this cable is. It's 1/8 in diameter. So then I drilled a deep hole in it. Then I took my wizard wheel and I cut the head of the bolt off. So now it would look like this. So I first tried to solder it in there and that didn't work, it didn't hold. Then I tried to braze it, but I didn't have the right brazing rod. I didn't have any brazing rod that had any flux on it. It had all come off. Excuse me. So then I stuck it in my V-block in my drill press and I drilled a hole through it this way, all the way through. And then I tapped it 440. Number 440 thread, real tiny. And then I put a set screw in each side to hold it. And then on the very end that was sticking out, I put it in the vise and I kind of crimped it. I tried to crimp it. I don't think that crimp would hold. I'm pretty sure it's the set screws that are holding it. So that saved me $195. So I'm going to pull the deck off and I'm going to show you. We're going to lift this thing up and we're going to show you that repair I made on that cable because it works good now. So it's working again. So I'm gonna pull the deck off and we'll lift it up, because this deck comes off pretty easy. One nice thing about it, you could easily jerk the deck off. That's probably the fastest I've ever jerked a deck off. Alright, so there it is. There's the set screws. There's that bolt. I still have to tighten that. So this clevis was frozen on there. So I was gonna do my heat quench trick, and I keep forgetting the commenter said to use wax. Heat it up and put wax on there. And I thought, you know what, I keep forgetting to try that trick. So I did. I heated it up, because this is small. I heated it up with the propane torch. Whoa, she's articulating on me. I heated it up with the propane torch. Then I took some wax and stuck it in there, and it sucked that wax in there. And it freed it up. So I've been trying that trick lately. It works real good on bolts, frozen stuck bolts. It doesn't always work, but it works, I would say 80% of the time. Because I tried it on a few things with the wax, and I still had to heat it up cherry red and quench it with the water to get it apart. But I did find that it does work pretty good, especially on hardware that's frozen in aluminium. Now, the reason I don't like to heat stuff up and spray like Croil or WD-40 or something on there, because when it's real hot like that and you spray those lubricants on there, it just evaporates. So you really don't get any kind of lubricant out of it, because you sprayed it on that hot surface and it just evaporated all that lubricant. But that wax trick works pretty good. So try it. Heat something up and put some wax on there, like a birthday candle, or I've got some bars of wax for canning that I use, and that's what I did. So yeah, we were able to fix that cable. So that's something to think of if you've got one of these things and that cable's broke. Don't get rid of that little end, because you're going to need it to kind of gauge how long a bolt you need. And drill 1/8 hole in it and drill it sideways and put some set screws in there. That'll work. And another thing I did is the chain. The chain that goes to the rear axle. That was all stretched out, and there's an adjustment on this axle where you can adjust the chain, and it was pulled all the way back, and it was still real sloppy. So I could actually pull the chain off by hand. The only thing keeping the chain from jumping off while we were riding it is it had so much grease packed up around it from somebody greasing it over the years, that caked on grease was actually holding the chain from popping off. It was like a chain guard of grease on each side of it. And I took a scraper and I scraped all that off. Cut a new piece of chain, number 41 chain, and slid the axle all the way forward and wrapped the chain on there, marked it, cut it, and then I was only able to pull it back a little bit. So as that chain stretches, I still got some adjustment left. So yeah, this is a neat little, compact little mower here. So now we're going to start the restoration. So part 1 and part 2 was us getting it running, getting it mowing, making sure it mows and everything. Everything sounds good. Everything works like it's supposed to. So now we'll start a whole new series of restoring it. And that's where Slippers is going to take over. He's going to do the restoration because he's good at that stuff. He likes doing all that painting and stuff. So the next time you see this thing, we'll have it all tore apart. We're just going to disassemble the whole thing. We'll go through the motor a little bit. It seems to be dripping oil a little bit. We'll change the gaskets. Probably go through the carburetor. See if we can find that blower shroud. I do have a blower shroud. Elkskin's had one that's got that stamped in there. The only problem is this is welded to this shroud. So I'm either gonna have to try to figure out how to remove that tank without damaging it and weld it to this shroud. Or again, like I said earlier, maybe we can have some kind of 3D graphic made that gives it that 3D look. Or maybe there's a grass rat out there that's got a 6 horsepower blower shroud with the gas tank welded to it. The gas tank's in good shape. The reason you can tell it's a 6 horse, it's going to have 2 holes on it on the top of the blower shroud. And the lines are going to run this way. On the smaller 3 horse engines, the lines run this way. So we'll cover all that when we start on a restoration. And I think I already mentioned it, there is a sticker kit, a decal kit available for this machine where they have every decal that we can put on it. So yeah, we're gonna restore it back to new. And then that other one, we'll do something with that. We'll do something crazy maybe, or a little crazy. Somewhat crazy. All right, well that's it for part 2 on the lawn keeper, or the crypt keeper, or whatever you want to call it. It's kind of ugly, like a crypt keeper. We'll call it the crypt keeper. Subscribe to this YouTube channel if you already haven't subscribed. Check out our web store. We got all kinds of stuff for sale, like this beautiful shirt. It's got wrenches on there. New hat, like our new hat, TFA, Taryl Fixes All. Spark plug necklace, tools, we got all kinds of stuff. Follow me with your lawn keepers on Facebook and Instagram. And as always, there's your dinner. Woo! Lawn keeper! Now she's ready for restoration. See, that's what you do. That's what you do when you get this stuff. Get it running, get everything working mechanically. Then you tear it apart, restore it, paint it. You don't paint it first and then fix it. You fix it first, then paint it.